You might not know about me because you don't learn about me in school. I stand for righting the wrongs. One of my famous quotes was, "The way to right wrongs is turn the light of truth upon them." I started as an abolitionist and women's activist who drove an enemy of lynching campaigns in the United States during 1890s. I went on to make a progress toward African Americans' equalities. I became a journalist in 1890. I was also a Delta Sigma. I helped with foundations of the Alphas Club in Chicago, the first African American women's suffrage organization. Another quote of mine was, "One had better die fighting against the injustice than to die like a dog or a rat in a trap."
I was born into slavery in 1840, when slavery was at its peak in Raleigh, North Carolina. My father worked hard to free us from slavery, but even though the chains were broken, we had yet to be freed from the restraints, stereotypes, and expectations that continue to suppress us. But I live my life differently. I live my life devoted to the idea that I am not what you think I am, and I refuse to be what you want me to be. After obtaining our so-called freedom, we left Raleigh and settled in Arberlin, Ohio, where many of my people hoped to go to college. And it was there that I learned that I could earn an admission to a one-year preparatory course at Oberlin College. I did so, but I didn't stop there. I didn't sit and stay in a woman's place like everyone expected me to. I carried on. I proceeded to carry my education and entered into a 4-year gentleman's course and earned my Bachelor's of Arts degree. I was the first black woman to ever do so, so you can guarantee that people weren't happy about it. People weren't happy that I exceeded the educational expectations that I was meant to be bound to. It wasn't just me either. My brothers and sisters followed behind me and also graduated from college 10 years later. But yet, I still wasn't done. I went on to become a teacher and then a principal, continuing to prove more and more people wrong. But I didn't just live my life to show that I myself could exceed these expectations. I lived my life to prove to everyone that any black person, male or female, can go just as far as anyone else, if not further. I believed this with my entire heart and carried these beliefs with me until the day I died on September 24th, 1994. I chose to lead differently. I didn't choose to fight and fuss with every one person who believed in these stereotypes, because that would only be proving them right. I instead chose to lead and let those who doubted me be the very people that motivated me the most to achieve my goals. I am Mary Jane Patterson.
Because I'll never change all my colors for you.
Sins that go against our skin color become blessings.
You break down my walls with the strength of your love. I don't really need to look very much further.
The movement is like a rhythm to us. Justice is just a position in us. Justice for all just isn't specific enough. That's why Rosa sat on the bus. That's why we walked through Ferguson with our hands up. One son died. His spirit is revisiting us. King pointed to the mountaintop and we ran up.
I won't hold it back again, this passion inside. You won't break down my walls with the strength of your love. You won't break down my walls with the strength of your love.
I didn't act to be the color I am. I just act to play baseball. I never had it made, but I feel as if life is not a spectator sport. If you're going to spend your whole life in the grandstand just watching what goes on, in my opinion, you're just wasting your life. So you have to give it all you got. A life is not important except in the impact it has on other lives. I'm not concerned with your disliking or liking me. I'm concerned about making a difference. Maybe not the whole world, but the environment around me. I could even change the game of baseball. All I ask is that you respect me as a human being. I guess you'd call me an independent since I've never identified myself with one party or another in politics or race. I always decide my vote by taking as careful a look as I can at the actual candidates and issues themselves, no matter what the party label. I plan to revolutionize the game of baseball and all other sports around, no matter what you or anyone else sees. I am Jackie Robinson.
Malcolm X was a black nationalist and a Muslim minister who was born on May 19, 1925 in Omaha, Nebraska. When Malcolm was 6 years old, his father was killed in a streetcar accident. When Malcolm's mom was having a hard time coping with her husband's death and raising their kids on her own, it broke their family apart. In 1938, she was admitted into a mental institution, resulting in Malcolm being placed into foster care until 1914, when his half-sister Ella Collins took him to Boston. In Malcolm's early teens in school, he was a smart and a focused student. He graduated from his junior high, top of his class. He wanted to grow up to become a lawyer, but his teacher told him there was no place to go for a Negro to be a lawyer. And as time went on, Malcolm's teacher started belittling him, resulting in Malcolm losing interest in school, resulting in him dropping out and being a waiter in Harlem. And in 1946, Malcolm went to jail, and while in jail, he found the teachings of Muhammad and converted to the Black Islamic faith. In 1952, he was released from prison and moved to Chicago, where he met Elijah Muhammad, the leader of the Nation of Islam. That is when he decided to be a part of the nation, resulting in him changing his last name to X because it was custom for Muhammad leaders to relinquish their slaveholders' last names, and he chose X for his family's lost tribal name. As Malcolm became a part of the Nation of Islam, he started to make a nation grow and brought more people to the teaching as a great and eloquent speaker around the South. Malcolm wasn't really known to the public until 1953. A man named Hilton Johnson was a part of the Nation of Islam and was beaten by two NYC police officers because he was trying to help a man. Hilton was left with suffering brain damages and then arrested and incarcerated. Malcolm went with other members of the nation to get him, but the police denied them, wouldn't let him go to the hospital. So crowds began to grow and started protesting police to let him go to the hospital and get treated. And as crowds grew and grew, they had no choice but to take Hilton to the hospital. As Hilton Johnson was getting treated for his wounds, they still wouldn't release him from jail, and Malcolm was upset, resulting in his giving his world-renowned hand signal for people, the Islam, to leave and the crowd to disperse, showing the police and the public that he was very important and had a lot of power for African-American men. As time went on, Malcolm began to travel around the South, speaking on his belief how black people should be treated and finding ways to deal with white supremacy. Malcolm's speaking was so intelligent and eloquent, he was appointed as an minister of the national spokesman for the Nation of Islam. As Elijah Muhammad also told him to establish new mosques in the cities such as Detroit, Michigan, and Harlem. In 1963, Malcolm had to speak at the Alaboom Ballroom, where he was gunned down by unknown men. He was rushed to the hospital and died shortly after arriving. Malcolm's death was a saddened and sudden death to the black community. His death wasn't in vain. The black community came together and finally rose up to defend themselves against oppression and end the segregation once and for all. Malcolm's teaching was eloquent and speaking will go down in history.
When your hero falls from grace, all fairy tales are uncovered, myths exposed and pain magnified. The greatest pain discovered, you taught me to be strong. But I'm confused to see you so weak. You said never to give up, but it hurts to see you welcome defeat. When your hero falls, so do the stars, and so does the perception of tomorrow. Without my hero, there is only me to deal with my sorrow. Your heart ceases to work, and your soul is not happy at all. What are you expected to do when your only hero falls?